Thank you for turning to page 121. And if I sound a little clearer than I usually do, it's not just because I blew my nose before recording. I have a new microphone. I want to say thank you to a listener who sent me this, who wishes to remain anonymous. You know who you are. I thank you very much. But today's topic is going to be on assassins and their guilds. What do you do? How do you craft an assassin's guild? Well, very similar to a thieves guild. We're going to talk about what the book has to say, and then we're going to go a little deeper into what I've done in my campaign. So there's the assassin section here. There's the various assassin abilities to disguise and things like that, which I may talk about in a future video. But today I want to talk about how an assassin can hire hirelings, or not, as the case is, and how they establish a guild. So first off, an assassin character cannot have any hirelings until they attain 4th level. At that time, low-level assassins can be taken into service. Upon attaining 8th level, the character may also include thieves amongst his hirelings, and upon 12th, he may hire any class. Total number of henchmen is dictated by the character's charisma. Followers, see the quotes, are also possible, but they come only at 2 uppermost level of the assassin's class. So in other words, once I hit 4th level, I can hire other assassins to work for me. But 8th level, I can then hire thieves. So I can have thieves and assassins work, and then 12th, of course, anything I want. So now we're going to go a little further down. In order for an assassin to gain experience levels above 13th, prime assassin, he or she must have requisite experience points and then assassinate the local guildmaster of 14th level, or challenge him or her to a duel to the death. Likewise, a 14th level player character assassin can journey to the place where the grandfather of assassins is, 15th level, and slay him or her by assassination or in a duel. Note that duplicity, trickery, ambush, and all other forms of treachery are considered fair as assassins. A higher level character can accept a challenge and then have the character slain by archers, for instance. As guildmaster or guild mistress assassin, the character will have a body of guild members which numbers between 7 and 28. Upon a change of leadership, it is like 75% likely that each member will leave the area, so you'll have roughly 7 people left working for you. Thus, it would be necessary for the new guildmaster to allow new members into the guild. These new assassins will all be 1st level, must be worked up through the guild, and that'll be set up by your referee. They are in addition to normal henchmen. Note that the guild members are loyal only to strength, power, and profit. And then the headquarters of a guild is always within a large town or big city. It must not be a noticeable fortress or an ostentatious palace. It is typically a warehouse or some other nondescript structure with safeguards and traps added. This avoids attention and unwanted notoriety. All expenses of maintaining the guild and its members, excluding the guildmaster, are assumed to be fully paid by normal guild activities. Any improvements changes the expenses of the leader, and all other special costs must be borne by the guildmaster assassin. So the boss has to pay for an upgrade to the building and that kind of stuff. The headquarters of the grandfather of assassins can be virtually anywhere in any form: cavern, castle, monastery, palace, temple, you name it. However, if it is a large and obvious place, the headquarters must be located well away from all communities, such as in the midst of a murky wood, a dismal forest or fen, a lonely moor, a deserted island, a remote coast, or forsaken hills or atop a mountain. Upon attaining the headship of all assassins, the new grandfather or grandmother must pay all remaining followers of the former head 1,000 gold pieces for each of their experience levels, destroy the old headquarters, and construct a new one elsewhere. Okay, so that's how you become a grandfather, grandmother of assassins. Once you attain 1,500,001 experience points or more, you become a grandfather of assassins. One advantage the Assassin's class has is they throw their die 6 straight through. They get 15 die 6 red points. That actually helps out a ton. Plus, if they happen to have a constitution bonus, that helps too. So today we're primarily concerned about establishing yourself as a guild master or a grandfather of assassins. Now, I had a player character who went through both phases. There's a character I've run since 1980. He's probably my most successful character. His name is Kirk, and he's an assassin. And Craig, some 20 years ago, ran several games where Kirk was establishing himself and getting a guild. That was in the late 90s. He got a guild in Stoink, which is in the Bandit Kingdoms. And then from there, he tried to move up to position to become Guildmaster, Grandfather of Assassins, rather, in the Free City of Greyhawk. After a very long campaign, Kirk was able to attain Grandfather of Assassins in the City of Greyhawk. He was able to franchise out or sell the Guildmastership in Stoink to another player character assassin that was at our table. So he and I ended up pretty good out of that. It never made sense to me that if one Guildmaster or Grandfather wanted to retire, why couldn't they be bought out? They didn't want that location anymore. They've moved on to something else. Sell it. Why fight to the death over something you don't want anymore? That's just how I do it at my table. I have established a few players into Assassin's Guilds. Unfortunately, none of those have really lasted. The player, for whatever reason, has left the game, and the guild just kind of went fallow, and nobody really did anything with it anymore. I, on the other hand, as my character Kirk, through Craig as my DM, went ahead and established myself as Grandfather of Assassins, and still am to this day, and Kirk has also, through wheeling and dealing, been voted mayor of the City of Greyhawk, which is really kind of exciting for a character I only play about twice a year. But this was all a long time ago. In the late 90s, before Roy joined us, we were down to me and Craig. Everybody else, for various reasons, had moved on, gotten married. One guy got divorced. Big life changes, and our group dwindled down to Craig and I. It was during that time Craig and I ran a lot of one-on-one games just to keep things alive. And one of those was the campaign where Kirk got the Grandfather of Assassins in Greyhawk, or in the City of Greyhawk. Now, importantly, there were other players that would come in from time to time, but our core group was down to two of us. Then Roy joined us, and Roy finished the last 2 years or so of the campaign with us. So that's been a very important part of my campaign, is that one of my player characters is still active and is the Grandfather of Assassins of the Free City of Greyhawk. So that's kind of, and Lord Mayor. That's been kind of a fun little power group for my enjoyment, and then as DM or other DMs, we've keyed off of that and done story arcs based on it. But it's kind of tough to become a Guildmaster Assassin or a Grandfather of Assassins, and of course, there's nothing beyond that. My character stalled out at 15th level, as other player characters have gone on to 18th or 20th level and beyond. My guy is stuck at 15th. I'm toying with writing a table that would just expand this and come up with some other level title names. As far as the Guildmaster Grandfather of Assassins, that it has to be a remote place, I took that as an option, which the wording kind of tells you it is. So the Grandfather of Assassins in Greyhawk has the guild right there in the City of Greyhawk. As for paying off the other members, the 1,000 gold pieces, Craig and I actually did do that. We figured out what it was going to be. We agreed that there was no reason to destroy the old headquarters and construct a new one. I could do it, certainly, and in fact my character did in Greyhawk. He's established a couple of outposts, safe places, such throughout the city. But the idea that he had to tear down the old one was kind of silly to us, simply because, why? It's a typical player's handbook way of getting you to part with your gold, and I get that to a point, but I think it's more important that the new guy take over where the old guy left off and is seated in his seat. And Craig and I talked it over, and he agreed with me as well. But there you have it. That's how you can become a Guildmaster Assassin or a Grandfather of Assassins. At my table, it's usually through the death of the previous guy, but in one case where my player character wanted to give up being Guildmaster of a different city to become Grandfather in a different city, he sold the franchise for lots of gold and ended up being a painless transition. And that was all DM'd through our games and things. It was a lot of fun. Great role-playing. Setting up these various guilds can be such tremendous opportunity for role-playing. And especially for players who haven't really bothered with that kind of role-playing, it can be really nice to see them kind of come out a little bit and talk a little bit about this kind of stuff. Maybe I've even had guys draw up entire deck floor plans for their lair. I've done that as well. It's just, it's kind of fun. It's part of it. But there you have it. That's how an assassin goes to Guildmaster Assassin and then Grandfather of Assassins and establishes their lair. Let me know what you think, how you've done it in your campaign. Maybe you've changed things around a little bit. There's a little bit published here and there in Dragon Magazine and such, but I decided today's episode would only be dealing with the Player's Handbook. Very little in the Dungeon Master Guide to help you out either. But let me know how you've done it at your table. And please leave comments, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Tell your friends. I'm still trying to grow the the channel. And also, please take a look at the Patreon, see if you can help me out there. And again, to the patron who sent me this microphone, thank you very much. It is genuinely appreciated. That's it for today. I'll see you next time on page 121.